An eerie aerial view of a dark, dense forest at dawn, shrouded in thick, rolling fog. The camera slowly pans over the forest canopy, where shadows loom and stretch. The early morning light barely penetrates the mist, creating an ominous, unsettling atmosphere. The trees are tall and dark, and the forest feels endless, silent except for the distant rustle of leaves. Everything appears foreboding and still, as if waiting for something to emerge from the shadows. A young teenage boy in camouflage gear lies on the forest floor, hidden by a perfectly blended ghillie suit. His face is focused, but carries a hint of anxiety, illuminated only by faint moonlight. He grips a rifle in his hand, while the dark, shadowy forest looms behind him. The trees appear twisted, with branches reaching like skeletal fingers. The air is thick with suspense, and the oppressive silence of the night feels unnatural. The forest, bathed in pale moonlight, suddenly goes dead silent. The shadows of tall trees stretch unnaturally long, and the mist hangs low over the ground, giving the scene an ethereal, eerie glow. A close-up of the hunter's face shows his tense expression, his breath shallow as he senses something wrong. The stillness is heavy and unnatural, as if the forest is holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. A large, wounded black bear stumbles into the clearing, its fur matted with fresh blood. The bear collapses at the base of an ancient tree, panting and licking its injured paw. The scene is dimly lit by moonlight, casting long, dark shadows across the forest floor. The air is thick with tension, and the hunter watches from his hidden position, his heartbeat thundering in the eerie silence. A sudden, violent burst of movement as a massive, grotesque creature, part deer, part monster, lunges out of the darkness. It grabs the small bear cub with its clawed, human-like hands. The creature's milky, blind-looking eyes gleam in the dim light as it claws at the cub, dragging it away into the shadows. The mother bear charges, but is violently thrown back. The cub's cries pierce the silence, filling the air with horror. The not deer stands fully revealed in the moonlit clearing, towering over the fallen bears. Its emaciated body is tightly bound in skin, with patches of fur missing, revealing its ribcage. Its massive antlers are warped and broken, and its eyes are clouded and dead. Blood, both fresh and dried, streaks its body, and its gaping mouth is filled with sharp, yellowed teeth. The creature stands on its hind legs, a terrifying mockery of a deer. The hunter sprints through the dark, dense forest, the camera shaking to match his frantic pace. The not deer chases close behind, its grotesque, elongated limbs moving unnaturally fast. The forest blurs around them as the hunter weaves between trees, desperate to escape. The creature screeches, the sound distorted and inhuman, echoing through the woods. The night is dark, the moonlight barely piercing the thick canopy. The hunter bursts through the door of a dimly lit, rustic house, slamming it shut behind him. The inside of the house is shadowy and sparse, with flickering lights casting an eerie glow. The hunter leans against the door, breathing heavily, his handgun in hand. Outside, everything is silent, but then a slow, rhythmic knocking echoes through the quiet. The camera zooms in on the hunter's face, his eyes wide with fear as familiar voices call from outside. A close-up of the door where shadows press against the frosted glass. The voices of the hunter's parents can be heard, but they sound distorted, wrong. The shadows move unnaturally and the camera zooms in on the hunter's tense figure as he listens, frozen in fear. The voices shift between pleading and demanding, creating a sense of dissonance. The house is dim, and the darkness outside feels thick and alive. The morning light is cold and dim as it filters through the forest. The front door of the house is clawed and damaged, with 5 jagged diagonal slashes cutting deep into the wood. In the yard, the severed head of the baby bear lies on the ground, decayed and rotting. Flies buzz around it, and the grass is stained dark. The air is still, but the scene is filled with an overwhelming sense of dread and despair. The hunter stands alone on his front porch, staring out at the edge of the forest. The trees are dark and foreboding, and in the shadow of a distant tree, the not deer stands, watching him with its blank, milky eyes. Its twisted form is barely visible in the dim light, but its presence is unmistakable. The sky above is overcast, casting a dull, oppressive light over the scene, as if the world itself is waiting for something terrible to happen.